Nah, it's all good, man.
Yeah. Big up everybody. Big up everybody.
Going to Wembley.
Welcome to United Real Therapy, people. Man United made hard work of it. But we got there. Erik ten Hag is through to his first final. Mickey Mouse El Trofios, but it's important for the manager and the players to believe in the manager's things, regardless what I personally think about the trophy. So, Sean, how you feeling? You watched that game?
I saw bits and pieces of the game. I feel good. Like it's great to be in a final again. The team is bubbling. You know, everyone feels very confident. I think the team is in a very good place right now. I absolutely loved the sight of Rashford, Marshall, and Sancho coming on together. You know, Sancho, I'm not really going to comment on his performance. I just love the fact that he was on the pitch again. Yeah, no, good times all around. I'm very happy with the way the team played. I didn't expect anything from Nottingham Forest. So like I wasn't worried about the outcome of the game because first off, there was no way they were going to score 4 goals. And then secondly, we were comfortable. Like in the first game, like we were comfortable throughout. There was nothing that they had to offer. I think even though everyone might not agree on, I guess, like the how much weight this trophy carries, whether it's a big trophy or a small trophy. I think the important thing is the momentum
Yeah.
and the belief that it would build in the team, the belief that it would build in the manager. And it's clear because I think every manager who has come to the Premier League, I think Pep had the same strategy as well. Whatever you can get your hands on, just win. Like let your players practice that feeling of lifting a trophy. So whether it's Carabao Cup or whatever, like just get into that spirit of like winning, you know, and everything. I think if I'd say, and the only thing that kind of bothers me still is the fact that the team was so strong. I couldn't believe the lineup when I saw it. I was like, wow, okay. I mean, I guess no break for Casemiro, no break for Bruno. Um, no break for Varane and Martinez. I was glad to see Jack Butland get a run out. But yeah, overall, like I feel it's a good time. I think personally, it's a good time to be a United fan. It's only looking up from here.
No, definitely the highlight, 100%. The highlight was Sancho and the amazing reception the Old Trafford crowd gave him. It was a brilliant reception that he got. A lot of people showed him a lot of love, and I was so happy to see him because it's not easy, you know, being that age, coming for that big transfer fee, coming to a club that's absolutely shambles from top to bottom, and then getting a new manager and still try to recover. So it was good. Like I said to you, I want to see the bench like that. If Man United are going to go anywhere in the next couple of years, we need to have a very strong bench and players coming on in that sense. So it was very good to see. And I think that's the biggest plus side tonight. Like I said, like me, in it, like I've been blessed. I think mentally, I've been spoiled. Physically, I've been spoiled. You know, I've celebrated. I've had the privilege to live in Manchester and to see all of the massive trophies that Man United have won. And I never celebrated the League Cup. I've never celebrated the Europa League. You know, for me, the FA Cups, the Premier League, the Champions League, these are the games where I'm nervous at. But for the manager, I agree with you, Sean. For the manager and for him to put a marker down, for the players to believe, especially to believe in the manager, is really, really important.
I think for the fans as well. Because when you're talking about like the biggest clubs in England, I think there's trophy counts that they use, and I don't think the trophy count discriminates. For one trophy versus another. So let's add to the cabinets. Let's just keep adding whatever trophy it is. Let's add. Sorry, I caught you if you're going to say something about the first half.
No, I was just saying about the first half. I thought the first half we were quite. To be fair, they defended really deep with like 11 men behind the ball, and it was difficult to get through them. But when we get through them, I just didn't think like we picked the right passes. We become very lackadaisical, and I just don't want us to be a one-team player. When Rashford's not on the pitch, we don't create anything. We're not looking dangerous. And I thought on the counter they created the best. They created the best chances. But it's going to be very interesting. Just big up more Hassan. Big up to everybody.
I don't think you should judge anything about our play from this game.
No, it was a weird game. To be fair, it was a weird game. Yeah,
it was like it was a formality
yeah,
essentially. I think Nottingham Forest came here to play for pride today, because they had to. They couldn't forfeit the match. And I think everyone kind of like played with the mindset that like United has won this game. There's no points, so let's just like see through. I don't think you should take anything away in terms of like tactics or game plan or anything like that from this game. It was just a formality, and we've done it now. And I can't wait to see Sabitzer play. I can't wait for Marshall, and because like I mean Sancho, I mean he looked sharp in terms of like speed and quickness, but I think like maybe his passing was a little bit behind some of the players sometimes.
mm.
So I
Yeah. It's
need them
gonna
to
happen.
let
Yeah,
them
that's
get
gonna
into
happen.
the match rhythm. And
Yeah,
what you're saying is very important because in a game where or in games where we need something to happen,
yeah,
being able to bring on Sancho from the bench, being able to bring on Marshall or to have Marshall start and to bring on Workhorse, our team is building a team. I'm actually thinking of Sancho as a new signing. I know everyone is saying like we shouldn't, but like for me
it's the
personally,
truth. Yeah, yeah.
he might as well be a new signing, like because he
For
hasn't
three
played
months,
for
he's
us
been
too
out for
much.
3 months.
Yeah,
Yeah,
been out for 3 months. Yeah, he hasn't played for us and is back, and the team looks great, man. Onwards and upwards from
yeah,
here. Mm.
yeah, yeah. Big.
I saw Sabitzer in the stands. He was watching the game.
Yeah, yeah.
He might be thinking to himself like, I'm sure I can do better than Fred. I'm sure I can get in ahead of this Brazilian guy. Although Fred, I don't know what kind of luck he's having recently, but he's coming into his own as a United
Yeah,
player.
yeah.
Um,
To be fair
and
to
and
him,
it,
this season,
yeah,
this season, yeah,
that's why the thing about football is that it's confidence. Like once things are going for you, everything will just be going for you. So you can look like a world beater one year. Look at somebody like Mo Salah. One piece of commentary I will never forget when Salah was in his peak of form, and the commentator was like, everything he touches turns to goals. That's just kind of how like somebody like Rashford is, for example.
yeah,
Once you're in form and you have confidence, everything will just start falling into your place. The ball will hit you, bounce off you in the correct way.
yeah.
It's a ricochet from you and go into the post. Yeah, it's a great, and I think this is part of why Maguire wanted to stay instead of going on loan, because when it's time to lift the trophy, it's the captain,
Yeah,
who will lift the trophy, and
yeah.
I think he sees himself lifting the
Oh,
trophy with the squad.
no, definitely. Big up. I think somebody said here, big up. No, let me just get this. How is it Mickey Mouse? Listen, it is. It's always been the Mickey Mouse Trophy. Nobody, no Man United fan ever looked forward to a League Cup finals, man. People look forward to FA Cup final because the FA Cup is the greatest cup competition in the history of football. It's the oldest and the greatest. That's why
Mm.
people love it. It's got so much weight, so much tradition, so much history behind it. League Cup ain't got that, so don't try to compare it, Andy. But that's just me personally. But I'm happy for the fans who are celebrating tonight. It is going to be a tough game, like Mo Hamza says here. Mo Hamza Zain says Wembley,
Yeah,
Newcastle,
Newcastle is
tough,
going to
to
be
be
tough.
honest. And at the
It's going to
moment,
be
you
very
can't
tough.
really separate the two teams. You can't
Yeah,
separate Newcastle and United. We're joint third at the moment. You know what I mean?
yeah.
They're third on goal difference. So it is what it is. So listen, and we're playing a lot of games. We're playing, I think, 6 games before we play them, or maybe
Mm.
7 games before we play them. So there's a lot of games to be played before that. And now we can part the League Cup now. That's it now. Final 26th of February. You know what? It'll take care of itself. But now we've got to focus. We've got a tough game against Crystal Palace. Crystal Palace, who have had an amazing record at Old Trafford in recent years. So big
Yeah,
games to
I'm
come.
actually
Yeah.
not worried about Crystal Palace. I think for me, the worry I have right now is Barcelona, um, home and
Now,
away. Because
you know what, Sean? I'm not actually worried about. You know what? Those big games, they take care of themselves. There's no motivation needed. It's just about the team. Are you bottle jobs, or are you gonna go and do over the line? Are you? Because I mean, I don't worry about the big games. I don't worry about the big games, bro. I worry about Crystal Palace because a lot of fans think, oh, you're not worried. Their record in Manchester, whether it's Man City Stadium or Old Trafford, has been amazing in the recent years. They've been the bogey team. They've been incredible in the way that they've been when they come
I'd
to
say
Manchester.
Horse Park, yeah. But I think
No,
something that gives me confidence
not a
about this
sellers back
United
here
team.
actually. Old Trafford,
Um,
we beat them I think 1-0 last season. Did we beat them 1-0? Yeah, we beat them 1-0. Ralph
no,
Ralph's
I
first game.
I think we would beat them. What I like the most about this, what I'm seeing from Ten Hag right now, is that if you're a team that on paper we expect to beat, we're gonna beat you. Like that's what I've been seeing so far. So I think like we're gathering 3 points here and there from teams that we expect to beat, and then when it comes to the teams in and around our level, then we might have like an issue. So I think against Crystal Palace, I think we're gonna have too much for them. I think
Well, let's
we're gonna
hope.
have like yeah,
Listen,
nah,
let's hope you're right, bro. But I just know that Old Trafford is never an easy game. Even when we don't win 2-0, 3-0. We always win 1-0 or 2-1, and it's always scrappy game because they're a physical team. So it's going
yeah.
to be very
That's
interesting.
that's on that's the old regime. That's Ole. That's Mourinho. That's Ragnick. I think
Listen,
this team, if we go out with the full team that we have, Dalot, Wan-Bissaka, Varane, Martinez, Luke Shaw, Malaysia, Casemiro, probably Fred or Sabitzer, Fernandez, Anthony, Rashford, Marshall. I think quality is just too much.
well,
It's just
let's
going to be
hope,
too
brother.
much for Crystal
Listen, let's
Palace.
hope, brother, because they need to all click, and it's going to take some
Yeah,
games for the guy, especially Sancho and Martial, to get into the rhythm again. So some Windy just said it, but big up Andy on the mic. I, 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 I think United will get the FA Cup and League Cup this season with top four finish. What a first season would be tonight. It would be incredible. It would be
if
absolutely
if we win
what
the
dreams are made of. If he
no,
wins the FA Cup, I'm gonna run down naked around the
can I
streets, man.
can, I-
I'm
can
not
I
kidding you.
ask you a question, Nuruddin? If this scenario, we win the FA Cup, we win the League Cup, and we end up in top four, and a certain club who is currently at the top of the table does it because they've Arsenal. Let me just say Arsenal. They've been knocked out of the FA Cup, out of
League Cup.
League Cup, and they don't have good prospects in the Europa League. If they end up not winning the Premier League, can you say we've had a better season
Of
than them?
course, of
With
course. It's about the end. Of course we would. That
it's
would
about
be
trophies, right?
incredible. That would be incredible. It would be incredible for them to be top of the league for this long and not to
Mm.
win the Premier League. Oh my God, it would be crazy. But big up Windy. Windy says Martial, Rashford, Sancho get their timing down. The front three will be dangerous. Yeah, 100%, 100%. But it's about them. That's why it's very difficult for me to get overexcited because I know that we've got so many games back to back, back to back,
Yeah,
back to back, and he wants to play. But at least like today, I think was it 70th minute or something like that. I think maybe it was 65 minutes. He made 3 changes, and
yeah.
the game totally changed. So I just hope we can have those options.
No, I think what he said at the end of the game is that it looks like Sancho is being groomed to play as a number 10. Um, because obviously Anthony is Ten Hag's boy,
Yeah,
so
of
Anthony is
course.
probably going to start like on the right ahead of
Yeah.
Sancho. But I think Sancho is looking like a number 10, potential replacement because that's where he was playing today. He was playing at the 10, and Bruno was out. Um, and Bruno was out wide. But I think that's just football for you. It's confidence. Like once you get into a groove, once you get into like a mindset of playing well, everything will just start falling into place. Will just start falling into place for you. Now I've been really impressed, and I know we were arguing before about the transfer window and Ten Hag. I think on Twitter we had like an interaction with Ten Hag saying that he was looking for opportunities, and I was stressing it last time I was on your show. Sabitzer is exactly the type of opportunity that I think Ten Hag was looking for or has
Yeah.
been looking for. None
Yeah.
when we were on the Twitter space or in the last show you had, nobody mentioned Sabitzer. Sabitzer didn't come up. Sabitzer was not on anyone's
Because
radar.
Because you know why? You know why? He was on the contract at Bayern Munich, 2 years left on his contract. So
Yeah.
nobody's talking about players like that. And I don't really watch Bayern Munich. I don't watch the German league. I watch a bit Italian football
Hmm.
and I watch the La Liga more than I watch the German league. I used to watch it a lot. I don't watch it anymore. But big up HKN Music. Listen, Hamza, there's something wrong with the live chat. I can't be able to mod you at this moment in time, but I'll keep trying, brother. Big up. Let me just get HK Music. Martial FC back. Man made Faz say Martial name on the United stand. Martial, we're back.
Marshall
Say
FC
Martial.
back. Nah,
Yeah,
I
big
mean,
up.
even Marshall has this kind of weird luck because the goal that he scored today was kind of like a fluke. It just fell to him.
It's
His pass
true.
was like was under
It
was
was really
under was
bad.
under a hit, and then ball still came back to him, and he still found a way to him. But like that's what you need. You just need that luck, and once that luck is on your side,
Mm.
everything will just start. Um,
It's crazy, Sean. You know what's funny about Martial? The amount of goals he scored, the amount of minutes been on the pitch this season is weird.
It's ridiculous. No,
It's
no,
weird.
it's ridiculous. I think before he got injured, he was coming on and scoring. Like no matter how long he was on the pitch, he was scoring.
Yeah.
Somebody Hamza asked a question about Sancho in number 10 role. I think for me, I'm curious. I'm interested to see what how it will work because I think Sancho is better at dropping his shoulder and turning than Bruno might be. I don't know if he has the kind of vision that Bruno has in terms of like hitting long range passes or defense splitting passes. But I think where Sancho exceeds over Bruno in the number 10 role is that Sancho is probably better at picking up the ball from deep and running at the opposition defense than Bruno.
I know.
Sancho can take the ball, drop his shoulder, and charge at them, whereas Bruno probably needs to pass some to other people to play with them. I think Sancho can also win us a lot more free kicks in the opposition half by playing in the number 10 role because he's a good dribbler and people can people will end up fouling him.
Yeah,
Um,
I agree. I definitely agree, bro. That he's got quick feet. We just need to get the level of longness and fitness. You know, you can be training, you can be doing all sorts of different training. There's match fitness. Your lungs, your lungs are never
it's
gonna
not
be
it's not
stable.
easy.
You know
90
what? In
minutes to
training,
run. Yeah.
yeah. In training, and then the way you are, you know, where you are, like in the match, because in the match everything's quicker. It's so competitive. So, you know, he just
Stakes are
needs
much
the
higher.
games. Yeah, he needs games. We're struggling to create big chances. Workers can't keep up with the tempo, the main striker, and we know Martial can't stay fit. It worries me. But you know what? We got to just touch wood and think that Martial has had now where nobody's been talking about him. He's been injured, so Workhorse has come and done fantastic for 4 games, and hopefully then he's got his injuries problems behind him. Let's hope, because we need him. We're gonna need that because, like I said, we've got 7 more games left this season.
Yeah.
So this month alone, 7 more
Yeah.
games. The reception Sancho got when he came on tonight must gave him some belief. Yeah, 100%. That's what I love about the United fans. You know, the best of United fans is that when they realise a player needs that support, they will give it. So I think everybody's singing his name, the whole stadium standing up, clapping him when he came on. It was brilliant.
Yeah.
So lots of love to him. Yeah.
No, I mean, you can see the chat. You can see any United fan that
Yeah.
you talk to. Everybody is behind Sancho. Like everybody wants him to succeed, and he's a good player. Like there was a reason why we spent so much money on him. There was a reason why for a whole year we're pursuing him. Basically, he's a very good player. He just needs to come into into his own.
Yeah, 100%. Listen, big up everybody. Logan says, if Nuruddin runs around naked for the FA Cup, I wonder what Nuruddin does if we win the league for the Champions. You know what? I'm going to fly naked around. I'm going to fly on a hot air balloon, so don't you worry.
Champions League next year. But if we win the Premier League, I don't think I can promise everybody on Nuruddin's show, if we win Premier League, I'm going to shave my head completely. I'm going to go bald.
You know what? You know what? I'm going to grow some hair.
we'll do the opposite.
I'm going to grow some hair. Nuruddin, do you think, do you have guests? Do you have guests again speaking softly tonight? Yeah. Yeah. I can't go crazy. You know me. When I've got people staying with me, I've got to be. I can't be. It is what it is. Mr. Structure running the marathon. Yes. Streaking, running the marathon, man. The sight of me.
That would be wild, though. I mean,
running around,
FA Cup is going to be going to be difficult because I think City is still in the FA Cup. There are still some very top teams in the FA Cup still. So that might be difficult. I think I want to say my biggest worry is that, like, as with Ole in his final or season before his final season, I worry that Ten Hag is going to run these guys into the ground. I was listening to some commentary about how Klopp did the same thing in his first year and basically ran his players into the ground. But it was essentially to prove a point to the board that he needs more signings. I don't know if that's what Ten Hag is going for as well. But I worry seriously about the fitness levels of some of our players and what could happen if we keep playing the same team over and over again. Because, like you're saying, we have 7 games in 1 month. Who is going to play all those games? You know, how is he going to manage the squad? I don't want to see the same team playing every single match. That's not how it's supposed to be.
Yeah, no, 100%. I speak softly. It's if the people who stay with me, if they're in, but if they're out, I'm always like, come on, yeah, like, energetic and that hyper. So big up people noticing. People noticing. Right. Hamza, I'm gonna mod you now, brother. As a moderator. Yep. Added you, bro. There you go. Big up, Hamza. Yeah, it's crazy. Jayma Sancho is a ball. I can't wait for him to catch up with the rest yet. 100%. That's it. I thought Wan-Bissaka played well tonight as well. I thought, I thought again he played well. Wan-Bissaka played well matches. He's been really fit. Let's give him the hamping waving. Hamping waving. I don't know what that means, but
it's confidence, Nuruddin. It's confidence. That's all. These players are good players, all of them. I think at the very least, to make it as a professional footballer, to make it to that level, all of them have similar like skill and ability levels. There are a few exceptional guys like Messi, Mbappe, Neymar, but for the most part, everybody has the same aptitude and level in terms of quality. It's the confidence and the mentality that separates the great players from the good players from the bad players. And Wan-Bissaka has been terrible. I think Ten Hag, if you listen to what he was saying closely, Wan-Bissaka had injuries and he wasn't in the right spirit. That's what Ten Hag said. He wasn't in the right spirit to be part of the squad.
He was in London a lot. He kept going to London a lot. Right?
He was having some kind of issues. He wasn't feeling like part of the group. I think obviously he was sharing a lot of the narrative that existed around him in the sense that, like, lots of people just did not want him anywhere near the club, basically, and there was an issue, with his performance and all of that, and I think it might have affected his confidence. And if you're not confident as a player, like you can't even pass to the nearest person next to you, not to talk of trap a ball, because you're second guessing everything you do. You're thinking twice before you make a pass. You're thinking twice before you control the ball, and that ends up, costing you. So it's confidence. Wan-Bissaka feels good. He feels fit. He feels confident. He feels like he's part of the team, and he's just playing well. That's simply it. There's no mystery.
Yo, big up Starbo Steve. Big up Starbo Steve. Staff, send me a message on Twitter, and I'll send you the link if you're free to come on. Big up Airfan.
That's simply it. There's no mystery.
Well, 1 second. Yo, big up Starbo Steve. Big up Starbo Steve. Airfan, turn it off. You got me on somewhere.
Yeah, the echo. Yeah.
Yeah, that's Airfan. Turn it off.
You're on mute, Irfan.
Yeah. He needs to turn it off. He's got me on first. He always does that. Big up. I'm gonna see if I can make Claire on mod as well. But big up everybody. Big up everybody. Earth, can you hear us?
Yeah.
Hear
me now.
How you doing? Okay.
All good, Shane. All good, Shane.
Yeah, you watched a bit of that game.
Yeah.
You watched a bit of that game?
I watched all of it, yeah.
Oh, okay, that's good.
Wasn't that much to watch, though, I won't lie.
Yeah, but Irfan, when you
got a 3-0 lead, I get it. With a 3-0 lead.
And also then you've got 8 games to play, like 7 games after that game in this month. You're not gonna try everything to go out madly. You know what I mean? The goals were gonna come. It was just about them getting tired.
But he's still picking a strong team.
They couldn't keep that up.
Yeah, but he's still picking
but they couldn't keep that up. No, I know that because he reckons his idea is he's new to this. They have to get used to the fundamentals of how he wants them to play because he can't train them. So he's doing it in matches and picking his first team. But if you listen to his press, he spoke to Roy Keane and that at the end of the game. He said he would like to have people available so he can make changes and rotate. But he's not had it, to be fair, because people have been injured. But the second half, he was coming second half. It was coming. And to be fair, listen, Sean's right. Sean's right. Psychologically, when you've got so many games coming up, you've just got 3 midfielders who are injured, you're not going to be busting the gut, doing everything you can to win this game because you're already 3-0 up. So they have to reserve energy. And it's a weird game because the psychology of it. If we're winning 1-0 or it's 1-1 from the first leg, it's a different energy. Different energy whatsoever.
Yeah.
But United, we're looking around, we're like, we can't create shit. even though our biggest, best players are on the pitch.
Yeah.
But it's that mentality, what Ten Hag said as well, is that they didn't have to run. Just could have kept the ball simple, short, get the openings and then get the shots off. But it never worked out like that. But the second half,
we didn't create anything until the 3 came on. We didn't really look like we were going to open them up. We could have played them for 3 weeks. I don't think we would have opened them up. So I'm just trying to. I'm a bit perplexed. Surely, like you start with Lindelof and Maguire in this game. No, don't you start with them? No, you didn't need to start.
That's what I've thought as well too.
You start with
Martinez and, you know what?
Varane.
No, listen, no, Irfan, because he's going to have to try to have rhythm because Crystal Palace is coming. Crystal Palace is coming, and he needs Varane. And you know how many games has Varane and Martinez played together and Casemiro? When they play together, United always win. So he needs that. Get those 3 back together.
No, I do understand it in terms of continuity and getting the players used to playing all. I get that. I get it. Why? But I just think it's a bit risky. That's all. I just think the amount of games we've got to play this year, to me, it sounds risky.
Listen, we've said that, but he's stubborn. This is what it is. He basically, every time he keeps saying it, I need them to understand the process and the way we play together. We can't train. We're playing too many games, and they have to be. And he also said before the World Cup, he's researching diet, recovery. You know, the similar like Tour de France. You know how the cyclists. He's been in touch with the cycling team, Sky. I think Sky cycling team.
He's not going to give him. He's not going to ask to take EPO. Yeah, like the cycling team.
Well, this is what I'm saying to you. So
no, but I think that everyone has a point because just as a matter of fact, we cannot play the same 11 every single game. So at some games, he's going to need Maguire and Lindelof to come in. How do you expect them to get the match rhythm that they would need to play well in those games if they don't play at all in games like this? This is the kind of game where you bring in Maguire or Lindelof to get used to the system, to get part of the team. Not in an important game when somebody's injured and you throw somebody else in. Okay.
No, I mean, I understand why he's doing it because the results are showing. You know, you don't mess around even a half game because you get into the habit of winning. You just win constantly. But I do think it's risky considering we're on 4 fronts. That's why I think it's risky.
But everyone, listen, he doesn't care. That's the biggest thing. He doesn't care. So this is Steve. Big up Steve. Big Newcastle fan.
Is he a Geordie Newcastle fan or is he a Newcastle fan?
He's
I'm one of those Yanks.
Sorry,
an American fan of thing. You're right. Okay, interesting.
He's mad about football. He's one of the rare Yanks who just become mad about football.
Interesting how he chose Newcastle.
Yeah, it's really interesting. Just to say the reason why football, or the Yanks call it soccer. I hate that word. That name. Why it doesn't do amazing in the US is because the 45 minutes either side is too long. They need to go to a break. Commercially, it doesn't fit. It does not fit. Like,
no, it's too long, and football games are too low scoring.
And that's the thing.
Americans are easily distracted. They need entertainment.
Baseball, basketball, NFL,
American football. And
you're not going to knock those off the American perch. You're not going to.
Every one of those sports, in every 10 or 5 minutes, see you after the break. And it's all about the commercials. That's how the TV money comes in.
Yeah, but that's from the business perspective. What about the people perspective? I understand it from the business perspective.
No. But what I'm saying to you, you know that things on business level, that's what makes sense to Americans. It's the bottom line. If you don't make no money, see you later. They don't care about it. But big up HK and music. What people do not understand is that Ten Hag needs to drill these guys into style of play. They still do not know. Once they master it, we will see more changes next season. Well, it has to. And the biggest thing, what I will say to this HK and music is that if he doesn't, we saw it with Liverpool. Last season, they were all in 4 competition. Majority, I think 13, 14 players played. And he ran them into the ground. Look at them this season. So it's not just burnout for this season. It will continue for next season unless we get a bigger squad on fresh.
Wait. Who got burnt out? You mean Ajax?
No, Liverpool.
Oh, Liverpool. Oh, yeah, Liverpool. Yeah. But don't forget, Liverpool. But also to do with age, though. It was also age as well.
Irfan, it's not just the age. They were in the last game of the season, last Premier League, Champions League, 2 finals.
Oh no! Listen, I know they went right to the death. They did.
So,
They faltered at the end.
Listen, But listen, how are you feeling? How are you feeling about the final? How are you feeling about last night? Obviously, you're through to your first final for 26 years.
We got the last final, 99. I wasn't.
Yeah, 99. Yeah, I remember that. Listen, I'm never gonna forget.
Did you watch the game? Did you watch the Newcastle game, Sunderland? Who watched it? I watched it. Did you guys watch it?
I didn't know.
I watched. Believe you me, that second half was a very, very interesting half because I didn't think that would happen. I thought Newcastle will run the show because it did in the first half.
Not Sunderland.
Not in the second half. No.
But listen, Irfan, but it's
a
nerves,
derby, right?
But Irfan, they've not been to a final for 26 years. It's called nerves.
No, I understand that.
Used to that.
But it was interesting watching Sunderland go at them. It was interesting to see. I've seen that. I haven't seen that.
Southampton.
Sorry, Southampton got at Newcastle. I was very surprised to see what they did to them in the second half. I was very surprised. But I'll let the brother take over and give us his view on it.
So what are you thinking about the final, man?
It's gonna sound really silly to you guys, but that's a moment in my life I'll never forget. Genuinely, I'll never forget it. And like I said, you guys won't get it because it's a Carabao Cup, and Man United standards are historically and right now always should be, way up here. Newcastle's, we're climbing up, but we're in the gutter. We were in the gutter last year, right? If you told me a year and a half ago you're going to be in a final, I'd be like, for what? The promotion playoffs? Which league? You know what I mean? Like, I never saw it coming in a million years.
It's been unbelievable. Like, you were going to get relegated. Most people couldn't win a game in the Premier League. What Eddie Howe's done is incredible. And it's not like you went crazy and bought Mbappe and Neymar. No, you haven't. He bought these couple of players, and all of a sudden, we are joint now. That's the weirdest thing. We are joint third in the Premier League. You've got a better goal difference on us because you don't really concede. But
11 goals.
We've got a lot of games, but this
21 games, 11 goals.
Listen, let me inform the people. I've just looked at the fixtures. Newcastle have 8 days rest before they play the final. And United, we've got to play 3 games and then play them.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
For me,
and that's why I think they've got an advantage because of that thing itself.
And we all know Ten Hag won't rest players.
Yeah,
I don't know but to be honest though, and this is where because I watch Ajax. I like their Eredivisie a lot. It's probably one of my favorite leagues to watch. And Ten Hag, even in the KNVB Beker, which is the FA Cup equivalent, even against like small teams, FC Den Bosch, Go Ahead Eagles, whatever you want to call it. Still played strong teams. He did not weaken his teams really often at all.
I think he has to get used to it because the Premier League demands so much of you, and in the Dutch league, the competition, Ajax are by far the best team. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, they're terrible this year, but they still, on paper, to me, they have the best squad on paper. It's worth the most. It's better than Feyenoord's or PSV, but they're sitting 4th right now below AZ Alkmaar, PSV, and league leaders Feyenoord, they have an all right squad, but that's because of their manager.
It's crazy. It's imagine like how it's going to be. It's going to be one of the most colorful finals in a long time. Like black and white on one side.
It's going to be a very tough game also.
Red and white on the other side. It's going to be one of the most colorful finals.
Yeah,
I'm one of those that remembers the final in '99. What a game that was! What a game that was! Yeah,
2-0, right?
Yeah, it's going to be very, very interesting. And I think because of your defense,
I don't remember the final.
It's not going to be an easy. It's not going to be an easy game. It's not going to be an easy game whatsoever.
Well, like I said, I watched it yesterday, and it was good because they got off to a flyer, right? Yeah, and the first time they really did. They looked like they were home and dry in the first half, but then Shadam scored a screamer that he's never going to score a goal like that again.
Yeah.
It was just an unbelievable goal that Shadam scored for Southampton.
It wasn't even a half chance. It wasn't.
It was a bullet shot. It was a bullet shot on the half. But then to see Southampton come at Newcastle was interesting. It gave me it showed me what you can do against Newcastle because I haven't seen anyone sort of do that to Newcastle. Even 0-0 against Arsenal when I watched that. I thought they hold their own because they're a very strong physical team.
Yeah.
Yeah, super high. They're just a very physical team. But watching Southampton go at them, and even when the guy Guimaraes got sent off, it was interesting to watch. I mean, they held it together. I mean, quite easily in the end. Southampton, but it was interesting to see them under the cosh. I've not seen Newcastle under the cosh like that before. So it was interesting to watch. It was interesting to watch. But I do think that because we got the 3 games to play, I do put Newcastle slightly favourites. Unless our players arrested. Yeah.
No.
I do put them. Yeah, I know I know it doesn't seem that way, but I just think we're going to be tired by that time. I just can't. I can't see us keeping up with this many games.
I hope Ten Hag is learning and is going to rest players for the Newcastle game, so he doesn't make the same mistake he made with the Man City, Crystal Palace, Arsenal situation, where he tried to have it all, but then ended up losing everything. He needs to manage the squad. I'm glad that we now have a new midfielder with Sabitzer. Marshall and Sancho are back from injury. Hopefully McTominay comes back from injury soon. He should balance the squad. We need to win this trophy. Like there's no two ways about it. Unless he wants to have an Ole type legacy, he cannot get to a final and lose. We don't want to be. We don't want to be that club.
And on the flip side of it, which is interesting. Sorry, were you going to say something here, Fan?
No. You go.
I was just going to say, you say you need it, and you do. For a club of your size, going 5 years trophy, that's unacceptable, right? No. But for this one case, we need it.
Listen, can I just say, I have worked in Newcastle a lot. I've worked in Newcastle on and off for 15, 20 years, right? I have a lot. When I was at university, I knew a lot of Geordies.
You notice when the team is bad and good, it reflects in the city and the people.
Well, it does because they're football crazy. They are absolutely football nuts in that city. Honestly, I spent a lot of time in Newcastle, and I know how hard. Look, come on, how many teams in the UK get 50,000 plus fans at the game? Come on, let's just be honest. 50,000, right? So they're crazy about it, and to be relegated and to come back up, then to get to go through all this turmoil. They want to get rid of Mike Ashley. They're almost like a Man City in a way, where they've had to go down, suffer horribly, come back again, and now it's almost similar to Man City's story. And now they've got serious money, and they've got a manager who's doing things the right way. It really is. If you watch them, right, they haven't progressed too fast. It's been subtle and very smart and very ordered. So I respect this guy a lot. And when I watched them play, they've got a lot of explosive players, right? Joe Linton, they've got Guiramesh, and they've even got Sam Maximan. They've got players who can turn a game, and they're very physical. Even Longstaff is a baller on their team. I watched the guy Longstaff, and I'm like, wow. They're just, and obviously the back is very. I mean, Nick Pope as well. I mean, my God, the keeper is playing out of his skin. So they're on fire. They're on fire. But the thing is, they've reached that top 4 of football where they know anyone below them, they can beat them. They can. Yeah. It's just whether they can compete with City, whether they can compete with Arsenal, whether they can compete with us time after time. And that's all psychological. So this is why it's interesting what Sharon said about the game. Now, because look, as I said to my friend today, and it's the same for Newcastle, the same thing applies. The winning mentality. You cannot underestimate what winning any cup, no matter it's a Mickey Mouse Cup, whatever, is what that does to the team. You cannot underestimate what that does, right? And if you look at Pep, you look at Klopp, winning any cup is the start of the revolution. It gives people the belief. That's why it's so important. So I'm intrigued to see what he's gonna do because, like I said, Nerdy's already said it. That 8-game rest. That's why I put Newcastle. Normally, I would put United. If I hadn't known about the 3 games in 8 days, I'd have put United slightly ahead, maybe a 2-1 win or something. But those 8 days rest that they're going to have,
7 days. I think 7 days.
7 days. I put Newcastle favourites because I watched them yesterday properly. I watched them, and I didn't watch them against Newcastle, so it was going to be tight anyway. But like I said, someone just asked me about. I think Natalie asked me about Sabitzer. I see if Sabitzer can fit in. I see him as a Casemiro effect signing for this team if he can get it together. That's how I see him. Wow. That's why I am excited about this guy. But let's see, because I've watched this guy a lot, right? And he's a very hungry, dynamic player. I was listening to a German agent talking about Sabitzer today, and he said, look, He's not an elegant footballer like Ericsson is, Prime Ericsson, but he is very physical, and he gives you for 90 minutes. This guy will give you everything, and he's exactly the kind of player we need against Newcastle. You have to be physical against Newcastle, or you get bullied all day long. So it's going to be interesting to see.
I think the challenge, the challenge for United in that game is that if we win, it's a bigger deal if Newcastle wins the tournament, but if they lose, it would be like, okay, United are the bigger club anyway. If we win, people are going to want to downplay, the outcome, and they're like, okay, it's just a Mickey Mouse trophy. But if we lose, it's a major deal, which is why I think it's possible that United might want it more. For the fact that Ten Hag understands what Irfan just alluded to, that winning a trophy is the start of the momentum, and also because I think as United fans and the club knows that if we lose this final, we're not going to hear the last of it. Whereas if Newcastle loses, it would be that they were punching above their weight anyway, and they're doing really well.
I know, but I agree. With only one thing, Shane, about what you said though. You say that, but let's be honest. In Newcastle, right? Obviously, they're excited that they got to the final, but believe you me, they're not thinking of themselves as like, oh, we might get there. They've got a lot of belief. Trust me.
Hold it there, Irfan, hold it there 1 second. Tom, jump on. I really want to get to that update about the Glazer sale, if you're around. Also, quickly, I just want to ask Steve. Sir Maximin was your best player last season. He was one of your biggest crucial in the last couple of years when he's been there. All of a sudden now, there is a balance in your team, and he's on the bench. He doesn't fit into this team because he has to defend, and your team's not just about counter-attacking anymore. Where do you think he fits? Do you think that he is he off form at the moment? Is that because of his form, or is it because of the team balance?
It's because we can't have any passengers in the team, and quite simply, unless you're putting up numbers like wingers of Newcastle in the past that weren't known for tracking back and whatnot, then you don't get that luxury, right? He's a luxury player, in my opinion. I love.
He is.
He's fantastically talented. But
is he luxury like? Do you remember Asprilla? Do you remember Asprilla? Do you remember this? Is he a luxury like him? Is he a luxury like him?
Asprilla was a different player.
No, Asprilla had an X factor that you couldn't describe. It was so unpredictable, magical play. It was magical.
Asprilla used to fight. Asprilla used to fight and fight.
Yeah. No. I think I know what Steve's saying, because I don't, in San Maximin, I don't see a diehard working back, tracking back every type of player. I see a guy silky skill, like to look not a show off, but a little bit of a show off. Kind of that's the kind of easy.
So I'm a part of Newcastle Fans TV, and two of our guys interviewed him at an event, did something for charity, and he said that he wants to entertain, right?
Yeah.
It's maverick. It's what gets the crowd off their seats. Is that something what he said along that line? So he is absolutely, because that's part of his persona. I just wish and I've seen it before. I've seen substitution appearances where he goes on and hounds a guy. So I know he can do it. It's not a stamina problem or anything like that. It's just I don't know.
So
I think it is, Steve. I don't
ask the question 1 second, Evan. Who plays on the right then for you guys at the moment?
Almiron, Miggy.
Almiron, the main guy, man. He's the guy on the right. He's the one. Yeah.
Almiron maximum plays on the left when he plays.
On the left, it's been Joe
Linton. Joe Linton's on the left. Yeah.
Wait, my understanding is that they play. You guys play 4-3-3 with Joe Linton in the middle. Joe Linton plays as like a midfielder, kind of like what Di Maria was doing in Madrid under Ancelotti.
Or Valverde right now.
Sorry?
Or what Valverde is doing right now.
Yeah, what Valverde is doing right now as well. So Joe Linton plays in the midfield, and I think it's when Maximin is fit, he's the one that plays up top on the top of the left side. Yeah.
On the left. He plays
on the left.
So who plays there when Maximin's not fit? Who else plays there up there on the left?
Jacob Murphy, if it needs be, but that was one of the things where I wanted a winger.
Actually, the Arsenal kid. What's the Arsenal? He got bought from Arsenal. He plays there. I've seen him play there before.
Burton?
No. What's he called?
Oh,
I know what you mean. I forget his name.
Yeah, Joe Willock. Yeah,
Joe Willock. Willock's quite an
plays
important player because he does a lot of tracking back. He's an all-rounder. He'll work forward.
He played there when we played you at the game. He played in the second half. I don't know, he came on or whatever, but he played there. He played there. Big up.
He's a grafter for sure. Yeah,
he's a grafter. He works very hard. He does. He worked very hard.
He made a mistake for the Southampton goal because he turned it over. But other than that, he was. I mean, all the lads are fantastic.
Yeah. Listen, it's going to be very, very interesting in that final. But we've got bigger games, bigger tests ahead, man. Honestly, I just wanted to get this to Steve on, and like he said, I just wanted people to understand the magnitude and what it means for Newcastle to make it to a final. You know what I mean? Like, the last time was 99, like you were in a final. I don't know when's the last time you won a trophy. You know what I mean? I'm trying to remember.
69-70 Intercities Fair Cup.
There you go.
He beat Ujpest, the Hungarian team.
Steve, do you remember the battles of Ferguson and Keegan? Do you remember those?
I'd love it to beat them. I'd love it.
Not remember, like, I'm only 21, but I've seen.
Oh, no, okay, yeah, no.
He's a football connoisseur. He's watched a lot of it.
Me and Nuruddin, we remember them very, very well. I remember how close you came. The team you have now is almost the same as what you had when you had Asprilla and all those guys and Ginola and all those people.
You know what the huge difference is, though? None of those Keegan teams were as tactically disciplined as Eddie.
Yeah, I agree.
We did not have a Botman at the back. The best center back we had during our like golden era of the modern day is Woodgate, and he went to Real Madrid. So other than that, I mean, Steve Watson, I've got him on the back of my shirt. He was decent. We had Warren? No, was it Warren Barton?
Warren Barton, you're right, the right back. Yeah, you had him as well. Yeah, you did.
Those kind of guys, you know. I'm trying to think of a few other center backs.
It was Peter Barsley playing. Pete Beardsley, was he playing for them as well?
Beardsley was playing.
Yeah. Shit. Wow. Well, we snapped your crown jewels, by the way. We took Andy Cole. Remember?
Andy Cole,
snapped the crown jewels.
Andy Cole score a goal.
Yeah. Wow.
His goal scoring record for Newcastle was outrageous. It was like
outrageous. Yeah.
60-something appearances, 58 goals. Oh my god! How many did he end up scoring for you guys?
Nuruddin knows. He scored a lot for us. Yeah.
Over 100 or something goals.
Yeah, he scored 100. Didn't he score 5 once against Ipswich or somebody like that?
Yeah, I think he did.
You know, the mad thing is, I'll always remember this. I remember a Newcastle fan got a massive tattoo of Andy Cole on his quads, right? And he left the week after to Man United. I'll never forget that. It was one of the biggest tattoos you can see on your quads. The Andy Cole got sold. I mean, Ferguson obviously did his deals and make sure he got star quality. But I'll never forget that. It's funny. It's nice to rival with the Geordies because they're not that far up from Manchester. It's only a couple of hours away. Yeah, they're not that far away.
It's going to be very interesting. Very interesting. But Andy Cole, for me, when he came to Man United, he changed as a player. At Newcastle, he was a goal scorer. He just had to finish.
He was a finisher.
At United, he had to become a footballer, learn how to run the channels.
Yeah, to hold up the ball and bring people in and things like that. Yeah.
And the way the English media, like his record, he's second to shit. Like, you know what I mean? Like he's third in the Premier League all-time goals. Like,
I know, it's crazy.
I don't care what anybody tells me. He's, to me, one of the greatest strikers and one of the most humblest guys. He's like a Scholes because he's not loud and brash. People don't. But I see him around Manchester, and he's proper, super chilled, super calm. Really nice guy. Really nice guy.
But he's hungry for goals, and that's it's the difference between like a Ronaldo, where you see in his personality, he lives football on and off the pitch, whereas it sounds like Andy Cole.
I think one more reason, guys. One more reason why this final will be very important is because Newcastle is going to take it very seriously. So if we win this game, it's going to be a hard-fought victory, and it's going to give the players like a serious confidence boost. It's going to be essential, man.
Exactly. You know, it's interesting though. It's because we're at look. How long is Eddie Howe been in charge for now? How long?
Coming up on it's over a year. But
it's not long. So there's 2 managers who've only been in charge for a short amount of time.
2 seasons.
But they still made rapid progress. They're not expected to be there. It's rapid progress, and they both have got this final to actually prove if you're in the promised land or not. If you're in the actual elite, And that's why it's so fascinating, this game. It's not like us playing City or Liverpool who've won this cup many, many times in the last 5 years. It's us guys trying to revive ourselves. And so Newcastle's trying to revive yourselves. And it's going to be interesting to see what you guys do next year and who you buy, because I'm looking at that team thinking, I wouldn't really know how to, maybe a more deadly finisher for you guys. I don't know else how to.
Isaac,
I mean, they
he's
have
been
a
playing,
finisher.
he's been injured.
Isaac is good. Yeah, no, they have a finisher.
Isaac is good. Isaac
Oh yeah,
He's very good.
he doesn't start on the Rodin.
No, he's been injured. He's been injured.
He's been
injured, and also what I've noticed with Eddie House signings is some of them slot in straight away. Dan Burn is slotted in straight away, but there were still games where Matt Target played a left back. He's out with the long-term Target. But Guimarães, prime example, he didn't go into the team straight away. He came in as a sub against Southampton in this very shirt and scored the game winner 2-1 backheel goal. And then from that point on, he started consistently for us. So.
I mean, I think Newcastle probably look to strengthen their defense. I think maybe you guys' defense is probably like the weakest link. If you want to take that next step into the
11 goals conceded.
No way.
Sean, let me explain something to you. The team, I understand what you're saying. If I think I might understand what you're saying. They have the best defensive record in the Premier League.
By 5
as a team, yes.
Yeah,
but like
because they defend as a team. They defend as a team.
It has to do with I think right now, which is what the point I was making earlier before everybody else came on the call. Confidence is important. Once you have confidence as a team, you're defending together as a team. You have that belief. It's there. Once you want to take that step to the next level, then individual player quality will start to tell.
Yeah.
Right now, Newcastle, they are in the bunker. They are together. Like they have the belief they can play against any team in the world as they are right now. They can play against Madrid or Barca.
Honestly, Sean, that defense is rock solid. I'm not being funny. It is a solid defense. I watched it, and the positional sense of the defenders is seriously top level. I saw yesterday why they've only let in 11 goals.
And that used to be the weakness.
And that used to be honestly. And big up to Alicia, Biker Grove. Anyone who knows proper Geordies knows Biker Grove. I remember Biker Grove, the program, Kiddies program on TV. So big up Alicia for that one. Biker Grove. Oh, that brings back memories, that does.
But if Newcastle wants to take that next step to the level and to become a top 6 club, I think they're going to need some better quality players in those positions. It's not going to be enough to just have that team spirit. I think that's what's seeing them through right now. Team spirit, like that spirit that they have.
We're talking about small margins, small.
It's very small. No, it is a very small margin.
It's also
sorry. If you look at the type of players that they have on paper, if you look at the names,
hang on.
Go ahead, Tom.
Let me welcome in Tom. Tom, big up. I know the update you sent me. I already saw it, and it's just the way I look at it. It's just a remixing just of the same stories as we've been hearing for the last couple of months. Do you know what I mean? I think we're going to know more in the people who step forward, but it's interesting that American companies now step forward as well, which is very interesting. But it's like these journalists and this information, it's like drip, and I think a lot of them are guessing at this moment in time, 100%. But what do you think about that? I saw what you sent me.
Well, the thing that I go around and I do my research on these sort of people, because I've had people who've told people I work with, etc., about certain owners and things like that. You actually research them, and they turn out to be that they've already died like 6-7 years ago. Some of these people, so I know when
like a U.S. voter scandal where dead people vote. That's happened in the U.S. before. Apparently, dead people can vote. But yeah, carry on, Tom. Sorry.
Go on. Sorry. Yep.
Yeah, Tom.
Go on, Tom. Sorry, go on.
Where'd he go? I might have frozen.
Yeah, he'll
Maybe
be
he's
back.
on mute.
The update basically is that from Tom, and I saw this around as well. A lot of people talking about this. Big up Phil McCallany talking about this as well. So the Rain Group have received interest from over 60 different parties, apparently, over 4 regions, with a majority interest coming from the US, Middle East, Middle Eastern, Europe, and Asia, with 20% of the US parties looking at minority investment into Manchester United. However, would want sharing rights to say over the club's operations, which the Glazer family have declined in the last few years from various parties. So apparently, 60 different people, organizations, or companies want to buy Manchester United.
Rewind, did you say 60?
Yeah, 60. Yeah, so 60.
I'm not surprised.
That's not surprising at all.
Parties. Yeah,
that's not surprising at all.
Parties,
I'm surprised it's not more. I mean, how many companies out there make billions and billions? I was watching some stock show the other day. ExxonMobil profited $55 billion this year. You know how many oil companies there are? You know how many retail places there are? You know how many rich companies there are? There are hundreds. And then you talk about individuals with money. There are also hundreds of those. And then there are a few who have like 500 billion and whatnot, and they're connected to the company. Yeah. I'm not surprised at all that it's 60.
Tom, big up, Tom. Tell us about this Redbird Capital.
Redbird Capital. So, yeah. Redbird Capital. They have ownership now over AC Milan. I think they took ownership in September anyway. And what they're primarily based, I didn't actually put it straight in the report that I sent you, so I then clarified it at the end where I stated that they would look at a minority ownership, kind of in the similar way that you're hearing links about QSI are wanting to invest a minority stake in a Premier League club, like of the held talks with Spurs and things like that. Redbird Capital are very similar in the way that they want to invest in sports. They already own a football team, AC Milan, so it would cause conflict to own another major team where they would clash potentially in the Champions League or Europa League, whatever competition either or are in. But also, I think from a financial point of view, it would make sense to try and invest in as many teams as they can, because you're seeing a lot of these franchises now, they want a portfolio of clubs. They don't just want one club and that's a full investment. You look at the Etihad sort of catalogue of clubs that they have: Fiorentina, Girona, Manchester City.
Wow. France.
France, there's loads of teams that have all the different sort of categories of clubs from all over Europe, and they use them to branch out their academy, and that's where they find the best young players in the world and stuff. So it doesn't surprise me that a lot of companies or banks or firms or anything are looking at investing more in different teams. It wouldn't surprise me if the Torboli consortium would look at investing within other European teams other than Chelsea, who might not compete at the same level as Chelsea Football Club, but would still give them the sort of marketable range to look for the best young players that are out there, because that's what they're targeting at the moment. Young players who they can attach to long-term deals for high price figures. And that's how they're tolling with UEFA and FIFA over the marketing and the FFP rules. That's why they're not breaching anything at the moment. They could be, depending on if they don't get the finances from the Champions League, but that's obviously still to be determined. And a lot of these players haven't even arrived yet. Like Nkunku has not arrived yet. So some of these big deals that they've already signed, because no players here, no money's been exchanged yet. That's how they're not breaching anything. When you get to the summer and all of the players are shipped in, then you can start to panic about if they're breaching anything, because of the amount of payments that they're going to make. But like, for example, they could have sold Conor Gallagher for maybe £40 million to Everton, or potentially even to Newcastle at the time when they were looking for it on deadline day. You could have sold that £40 million. If you span the Enzo Fernandez deal over, say, the whole 8.5 years, you're paying an average to get to about 105 million, about 13 million per year. 13 million per year annually for one player. And that is how they sustain to make high-profile signings for some of the Europe's best young players. Albeit, it's a gamble and it's a huge risk.
Listen, Tom, let me just ask you about this Saudi Arabian guy. Hassan Al-Ahmadi. But when I look at him and the Qatari guy, both of them, I look at it and think, well, Man United won, like the Glazers, not Man United, Glazers won 5 to 6 billion. And then you're going to have 2 more billion, like as a football project investment, a new stadium, new training ground, the women's team, all of this, the women's and the youth team getting their own stadium, be able to retain good players like Russo. I'm glad that Man United said no to Arsenal, because he would have been. I think she's going to be the first £1 million woman footballer. And I'm glad that United they've resisted. I mean, Man United are top of the league as we speak right now on goal difference in WSL. But when I look at what they're worth, these guys, I think, well, they have to be part of consortiums because their net worth is not what the Glazers want. They're not going to bankrupt themselves to buy Manchester United. So it's about,
of course they're not. This is why I've said it's not a case of what they know in their own country. It's who they know, and who they know is effectively who's going to finance them to make a takeover bid. Because, for example, if Todd Bowley didn't have connections at Clear Lake Capital, he wouldn't be the owner of Chelsea Football Club right now because nobody was prepared to invest in him. You wouldn't have like we just said about Redbird Capital. You wouldn't have them guys owning AC Milan if they weren't prepared to back somebody of a high-ranking sort of financial background. They wouldn't do it at the end of the day. You wouldn't have a Saudi consortium take over Newcastle if you didn't have the Reuben brothers and Amanda Staveley, because the Saudi Arabian government cannot own 100% of a football club. They can have a majority shareholding, but they cannot have a full shareholding. And that's how it's legally passed through. Same thing where people are saying about QSI or QIA are going to buy
the
Qatari-based government sort of backed bid. They will not buy all of Liverpool, A, because they own PSG's rights, and B, they also can't own the football club, given the factors of they don't have the financial connections within the British government to do so. They don't have major investment within British infrastructure at all.
Or land,
or land, and therefore they don't have any jurisdiction to own a business in that country. Therefore, all this hype around Liverpool and Qatar, you might see them buy 20% of the club, but you won't see them buy all of it. Unless they're going to sell PSG in the next couple of months, which they've had offers to sell the club and they've already declined all of them. So I don't see where you're going to see Qatar get in the mix. Dubai is interesting, obviously, but there isn't anything to update. There isn't anything major or anything out there. Yeah. All we're hearing is you've heard Sir Jim Ratcliffe's come out publicly, and we know the reason why he's come out publicly is because he wants the engagement, he wants the publicity, he wants the backing of the fans. You know, local lad. You used to have it back in the day. Local businessman buys the local football club. Yeah. That sort of storytale and fairy tale, he wants to bring it into the modern day era. He wants to bring that sort of click back. Whereas you're looking at a lot of these, like I've said, the American investors, for example, and I've mentioned a couple of investors from the Middle East. These sort of people ain't going to come out on Twitter or anything and say, listen, I'm interested in buying Man United. I'm not going to, operate in that sort of way. These people are astute businessmen. They get to where they are because they're private. And that's the reason why they keep their lives secure, they keep the business secure and the life private. And that's why they become multi-billionaires at the end of the day.
It's like when you play poker, you're not going to show everyone your cards. Ooh,
yeah, exactly.
That's the thing. Ooh, look at this. No. You're going to
This is why, like I'm saying, at this moment in time, we're in the process of people are putting their hands up and saying, listen, I'm interested. I want to see the financials of the football club and I want to see if it's worthwhile. What they evaluate, when I look at the financials of the club and I can work out a valuation that suits me, but also suits the evaluation that the Glazer family want. If the numbers match, we'll be in. If not, I don't want in. That's
and I think for me, the key dates are at the end of February. So at the
end of February, you'll know a lot more than you do now. I'll bet any money on that.
Yeah, at the end of February, we'll know at least 5 potential buyers, or 3 or 4, whatever the number is. And then we'll be able to say who are these people, what do they want from Man United. So it's going to be very interesting.
I mean, but it's still not anyone's call but the Glazers. And I can assure you that the Glazers are going to look to maximize their profits.
Yeah, whoever pays them up, it could be for all you know. They would accept.
Well, they want the most money because the debt has to be leveraged off of any bid that gets taken place, because you can't have a debt on a football club when it's sold. You can't then also all these transfers that were outdated and all these fees that need paying off. I think we're in debt by football clubs for nearly £400 million. That has to get wiped off, as well as the debt. Nobody's going to come in and pay that for its stadium, like we've just said. Women's team,
not necessarily though, Tom.
These things are going to have to change.
I don't think that a buyer necessarily has to pay off the debt, because I think
I'm saying they don't. It comes out of the price. That's why I'm saying the Glazers have to maximise the sale, so then they're not going to take a hit on having the debt taken out of their fee, is what I'm saying.
What happened with Chelsea? They wiped out the debt immediately because that was part of the purchase.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It takes it away.
Is that a relevant example? Where it's like,
yeah, it's a relevant example because they had to pledge their investment because you had Roman Abramovich who had debts with the football club, but then he took them away from the attachment of Chelsea and put them on himself, which obviously he didn't have a couple of £1 billion to hand that he could just wipe a debt off of himself. But it's better to put it on himself because it means the football club's not affected. But the reason why he did that was because he was an owner that was passionate and he cared about Chelsea Football Club.
Yeah.
The Glazer family could not care. They will not want a debt dumped on them for the sake of Man United because they've never cared in 18 years. So why would they care now? Exactly. They're not going to. They came in. They came in broke and they're walking away billionaires. So if anything, they should be thanking Manchester United fans for making them the biggest financial coup that they've ever had in their lives and will ever see.
Yeah, but Tom,
they won't go anywhere near a sports club.
It's called vulture capitalism. They learn all that.
They got it from Malcolm.
They're not astute themselves. The dad basically opened the door, and this is American capitalism. This is what it does.
Of course it is.
Yeah, the biggest thing, big up. I just wanna. I'm quite angry actually. I'm quite peed off that Man United only managed to sign Sabitzer when there were so many other players we could have signed as well to add to it. Because when I look at Scott McTominay now facing 4 to 3 weeks out, Eriksen out for the season, Van der Beek out for the season, I actually don't think. I think there are some United fans who are getting giddy because Sabitzer is a dynamic, competitive kind of a player. But I genuinely think that they've absolutely failed miserably for the amount of games we've got to play. No, let me finish.
But they're in the fell for how many years?
Let me finish. The amount of games we've got to play and the amount of injuries that we've had to cope with, that Erik ten Hag has had to cope with this season. I think there were other loans to be done, other deals to be done yesterday, and Man United didn't want to do it. And I think that's an indictment. And today in the Telegraph, they're doing an absolutely PR job on Richard Arnold.
I know.
Like, are you taking the
wind up his backside? They were, yeah.
I'm sorry to say. Let me just get this in. This guy was sat next to Ed Woodward in the last 13 years, in this football club. So this idea that he was some sort of like fly on the wall and didn't have it. He was in charge of marketing strategy as a Man United director. Like,
and when you look at how the finances are worked out,
it's like now this Neil Ashton, the way Neil Ashton's now trying to, and that's what I'm saying to you about Man United fans. Get a little carrot in front of them.
Come on, Nuruddin.
Yeah. No, man. Listen,
Man United fans already. That's fine.
Having 3 midfielders out. Let me say something to you now. Having 3 midfielders out. Now, if Fred or Casemiro was to get injured, or Sabitzer was to get injured, we've got 17-year-old Kobe Manu as the next guy to be coming on the pitch. That is disgraceful.
Where does that stop, though? It's a slippery slope, though, because you might as well list everyone and say if this person gets injured, gets injured.
Have you seen the amount of games? Injuries only because of those games.
A couple of things quickly. As United fans, it's okay. I think it's okay to just be a fan and to just be happy about signing a new. Come on, wait.
You're on the wrong channel, bro. You're on the wrong channel. We don't do that. We take time and energy to look at what's going on at this football club and the 17 years of hell we've had to endure.
Definitely.
Story right now. You guys are really, really successful, but then you could be even more successful, and you need to acknowledge why you could be more successful. That there is a deep-rooted, like Nerdin has 17 years.
I think.
Wait, Steve, you had it with Mike Ashley. You understand? You had it with Mike Ashley. You had the same type of crap.
Yeah. Eventually, after all the rumors, and there is a big difference. There is a big difference because I walked into being a Newcastle fan when we had Ashley. We were dog shit. So it's like, but you guys have seen Man United at the pinnacle of world football multiple times, or English football, and whatever. So I've always been used to seeing us in the gutter, and you guys have seen the highest of highs. So it's it is a difference. But what I will say is, eventually, after the first year or two, I was a fan and getting hyped over these potential takeovers. I just was like, I'll believe it when I see it. I'm done with this crap. It just honestly, it just gets you depressed, bro.
Fundamentally, like I think Yuri and I disagree on the responsibilities of the manager and just generally how I guess evil or Machiavellian the Glazers are. I think it's okay to be happy with the squad that we have and with the signings that we have made. I like to stress that Ten Hag is not a fool. He's not an idiot. When he speaks, he chooses his words carefully and he speaks and he says exactly what he thinks. I think he was correct when he stressed that we're looking for opportunities in the market. I don't think it was realistic to expect that we would sign João Felix or we would sign any of those guys. We are not those clubs. Like that's not who we are.
Right, Sean,
Don't
can I ask
expect
you a
us
question? Can I ask you a question on that then? So if we did have, say, an ownership that actually was willing to invest or there was money there to spend, do you honestly think we would be sat here on February the 1st with Sabitzer on a loan with no option to buy nothing? So basically, you just have him for 6 months and they want him back. And you have Wout Weghorst on the same sort of deals. You have two players who you're not going to own in the summer for 6 months. If we had investment, do you honestly think that Ten Hag would have wanted those two players?
Tom, if my grandma had wheels, she would be a bicycle. But she's not, so she's my grandma. In that hypothetical, like it's great. Like if we had all
this isn't a hypothetical. You got Weghorst and
no. His hypothetical. His hypothetical is that if we had all the money in the world, would Ten Hag still be saying?
No. It's not all the money in the world. It's not all the money in the world.
We had funds.
It's the 50 million that we overspent on Anthony. You could have invested that on a striker, on a midfielder, potentially even two midfielders, and forget the striker if need be. Because priorities are priorities at the end of the day. I understand we didn't have anybody for centre forward, so we had to get something, body. Same thing with deadline day. We had to get a body because Eriksen, McTominay, there's no reliability in the midfield for people to stay fit or people to consistently perform week in, week out. And yes, they've plucked out Sabitzer, they've shut out Sabitzer from absolutely nowhere. Ironically enough, Sabitzer wasn't even the player that they spoke to buying about because they wanted Gravenberg initially.
But
and
Tom,
they didn't get him.
I think what I like the most about Ten Hag is that he clearly understands the landscape that exists. So he's dealing with the world as it is, not as it ought to be.
Oh, he understands that he's in a shitstorm at the moment because he's got no money. He understands that clearly.
Yes, and I think that's the world we need to occupy. We need to occupy the world as it is, not the world we would like it to be. The world as it is.
United, I thought. That's the thing that I thought. Am I wrong? No.
What's that?
That it's unacceptable that Newcastle United have bought two permanent transfers, good players for the future, and we've done also some other brilliant business since PIF came in. And the fact that this January window, when your squad is so tiny and the games are so big, and the games are so not just big in importance. We're talking a Europa League game against Barcelona. It's not a small game.
Yeah.
EFL semi-finals, finals, FA Cup.
I just don't see it that way. I wouldn't use the term unacceptable, and I think that's the beauty of the fan base. You understand, and having like a diverse, I guess, point of view.
Yeah.
I think the way I see it, I think I think it's the Glazers' prerogative as the owners of the club as to do whatever they want. And if they say they don't have any funds to buy players, okay, then the job of the manager, in my opinion, is to work with the tools that he has. I'm so glad that Ten Hag is not acting like a fan or, going out there complaining or sabotaging himself, just to prove a point. I expect him to earn his salary, and part of his job, part of his responsibility as a manager is to get the best out of the squad that he has and to work with the resources that he has.
Yeah,
and
but
clearly,
Sean, you can't work. You can't turn shit into gold.
I cannot believe I'm hearing this.
I got a question for Sean. Whenever I can't put it, I'll let.
Yeah, go and put it to him now, Steve. Go and put
sure.
It
So Sean, let's look. All right. So maybe Man United. We could let's look at a team that none of us support. Everton, right? They just hired Dyche. No January signings. Second bottom of the league. Is that on him? Is that on Sean Dyche? The fact that he got hired 2 days before the window closed, or 2 days before the window closed. Bashiri said he could get him some last minute stuff, bailed out on him.
Is what on him? Is what on Dyche?
The fact that he's got no.
They get relegated. Is that on Dyche? Is that on Dyche's shoulder?
If 1,000%, why the fuck is he getting paid then? Like you cannot tell me that Shandek was hired as a manager, and and essentially he's just going to throw up his hands and say, oh, unless I get everything I want, I'm not going to do my job.
Well, why
It's
did
not
Bielsa didn't go
everything,
there?
though. It's anything. It's not everything. It's anything. He didn't get anything, and that's squad needs signing.
And that's terrible. That's terrible. But that is not an excuse. That is not an excuse.
Unless
as far as
Sean
I'm
Dyche has
concerned.
got some sort of a clause, or he's spoken to the ownership. God forbid they went down, and they say, if you take us down, we ain't going to sack you. We're going to invest for you to rebuild and get us back into the league the following season. Unless they've given him some sort of guarantee or assurance, that's the only reason why I think that they didn't potentially sign anybody at all. It's not for the one that they didn't want to try.
They're preparing for
But yeah, they wasn't prepared, because the fact that they sacked Frank Lampard in the middle of the window when he wanted players as well, you've then had to switch the style of player and profile of players that Frank Lampard would want to the Sean Dyche kind of profile that he would want. But I do look at some of the players that are already there. Tarkowski's been under the coaching with him at Burnley. You've got players like Connor Cody who are used to that sort of system, compact style of football. Ben Godfrey, he's been through the wars at Norwich and then he got his move to Everton. So there is players there. But
do you rate Godfrey?
Let me
I
just
don't rate anyone ever besides.
I don't rate them, but I think they're all right.
Rio rates him, but we don't. Can I just say though, you see what it is that Sean's rationale is condoning incompetence. And the job of the fans, on Nerdin all day long, is to give this little bit of pushback they can to expose this high level 17 years of incompetence. So when you say a manager comes to Man United, right, and just deal with the incompetence and it's fine, yeah, it drives people like me and the fans would drive us crazy.
Listen, that's not fair.
You just said that Ten Hag or any manager should accept the situation, the high level calamity of running of a club and get on with it and work with what it is.
Not accept, but he has to work with what he is given. And if he doesn't want to work with what he's given, then he should go to another club.
No. Listen, on a very simple level, yes. But you know, and I know that the fans are the pushback. They have to make sure the fan base, the customer base, dare I say, is happy. Yeah. If the customer base is turning against them, you know what these people like? They act. When the pressure gets so big, when Arnautovic was being offered, right, when all the fans started jumping on social media, right? So that's the pushback. So
but it's a push and pull.
It's not a push. Listen. It's not a push and pull. These rapists, they've raped Man United, and rape is a strong word, but they
financially raped.
They financially raped Manchester United. They've pillaged, they've vultured, they've leached, they've done everything that they can. Their dad only put 200 million in. The debt, say 18 years ago, is still as it is right now, with nearly £600 owed to the banks. Sean, Sean, I'm never going to get it. I set up this channel to inform the fans because fans were blaming managers right, left, and center. And like I always explain to people, for a football team to have a vision of winning and strategy and objective as a whole team, it's the people you don't see on the football pitch. It's the people behind the people. If that's not right, then you're never going to win. Managers are not miracle workers. They're human beings.
Absolutely.
That's all they are. They can't let me finish. They can't turn shit like
into
water,
gold.
Miracle. They can't. Let me just get this super chats. Big up HK Music. Why would a team like Manchester United that makes 700 million a year revenue only spend 90 million in January windows? That makes no sense. They should reinvest the money into the squad. And then he continues to say, I argue the same thing in my group. Glazers have forced this kind of mindset on the people. Of course,
can I just say a couple of things? Just to respond, because you guys have said a lot. So first and foremost, the Glazers have not forced anything into my mind. I am a United fan as much as any one of you, and I'm watching and making my own, assessment of what is happening in the club and everything. I think the managers have a responsibility as well. I think the outcome that you see on the pitch is a combination of both the owners, the manager, and the players. I don't accept that the manager doesn't have any responsibility for how the team turns out. You cannot tell me that ownership is the reason why Frank Lampard's Everton was playing shit. Like that has to do with the manager. So the manager, first and foremost, has a responsibility to get the players playing. If there is now a gap between the manager's ideas and the execution because of lack of quality of players, then that's a different question. It's one thing for that to be the case. So as was the case with Pep, as was the case with Klopp, when they first came, you could see what they were trying to do, but they didn't have the players quite there to do it. And so they needed to buy the players to do it. What we've had at United is managers who have been shit. First and foremost, they have been trash. They haven't been able to deliver anything on the pitch. And then everyone wants to keep pointing to the Glazers. Who sent Mourinho to start a fight with his own players in the club? Who sent Solskjaer not to have any balls as a manager? Definitely. That has to do with him as a manager and not the owners. The owners have definitely failed us. Like, let me just be clear to all the United fans that are listening here. I don't like the Glazers. I don't want them to be owners of the club. I don't support them. I'm not a pro-Glazers guy, but I think the managers have a responsibility, first and foremost, to deliver, manage, coach, and manage the team.
Sean,
and
he is delivering in a very, very short space of time. He's delivering on every level, for God's sake. We're talking about the fact
he's doing that.
We're talking about things like spending 90 million. Anthony, moronic decisions like that. That's what we're talking about.
The thing that I don't get though, I look at some of the players that he bought, for example. In Ten Hag's mind, he's coached Anthony at Ajax. He's coached Martinez. He will have known Martinez is nowhere near being near enough a £50 million player. He will have known he's a £40 million player at max. If you got proper negotiators, you can get him for £40 million. Anthony, he will have known he's not a €100 million player. So 90 million. He's not a record transfer fee of any circumstances. He shouldn't be on the Premier League's top 5 most expensive players. He should be nowhere near it. At minimum, he was £50 million.
What would you not say about Enzo Fernandez? Right now, and in the past few years, it's a seller's market. It's not the buyer who determines the price of a player right now. It's the seller.
Of course.
And Simon Jordan made a great point on TalkSport this morning. I know nobody likes TalkSport, or people don't like TalkSport, but with this sale of Enzo Fernandez, Dortmund must be licking their lips, because if Fernandez is 105 million, it means that Bellingham is at least 130. And if Bellingham is 130, then the next guy is going to be 250 million pounds. It's not up to the club to determine how much they're going to pay. It's the seller. And if Ajax says, I'm only going to sell this guy for 80 million, what the hell is the club?
That wasn't the point, Sean. The point was you could have got the player in June for half the price.
Yep.
You messed about trying to get Frankie de Jong, which was never coming. He already stated that for 3 months. He was on the phone to Ten Hag. He was on the phone to Mirto. Barcelona representative said, listen, we'll negotiate with you, but it's up to the player ultimately. And if he says he doesn't want to go, we can't force him to go. He was owed money. There was all these other.
Somebody was lying.
There was all these conflicts. There was always these conflicting reports about, he's owed £13 million. He's owed this. He's owed that. He was basically held to ransom in many cases, where he was stuck at a club where he was owed money. He wasn't sure whether he wanted to stay, go, or whatever, because it was his dream move when he actually got there. And at the end of the day, there was no reasoning for him to come. Other than he had a connection with the manager. That was the only thing that was driving him to come. And like you say, with the Anthony deal, you have £90 million that you spent on him. If you would have, instead of messing about, and like I always say with this ownership, every single summer, it's one player. They always target the one mainstream player. They don't target 4 or 5 different high-profile players. It's just the one. And if they don't get the one, then we're screwed at the end of the day. Because Mourinho wanted Koulibaly. He kissed Koulibaly's ass for 3 years, and he didn't get him. And then in the end, he went, right, I want Harry Maguire. They couldn't even get him that. And so then they went to the following deal with Ollie. He was his first signing because he was his mainstream signing, and that's who he wanted. The Anthony deal, you could have got him in June for half the price. And that £50 million was sat there then, where you could have been in the market for a permanent transfer. You could have been in the market if you wanted Leandro Trossard, like you were saying, Nuruddin, for a cut price deal. You could have got him for that £27 million. You've got 50 million there. Then you sat left with £23 million. Go and sign Sabitzer on a loan with an option to buy, for example. Go and potentially, I don't know, you could have potentially negotiated a deal for Gravenberch because you have options there. You have finances to do it. The João Felix would have been an option then. If you wanted to sign Cody Gakpo, you have 50 million there to sit and get
convenient. Tom, these are very convenient counterfactuals that we're putting up when none of us know exactly.
No, we do know because the Glazers. I'm sorry, Sean. I'm sorry to stop you. The Neil Ashton leaks. Manchester United, instead of hiring a director of football, hired. The fact that I know too much, I'm sorry to say, and Irfan will tell you, I know I live in this country, and I have to watch what the media framing is. I've been following media for 20 years solid and about how things are framed, how things are leaked to who. We know people who work at the football club. In the place where I used to work, all of the people, we're talking about people who work in MUTV, coaches, everybody will come in. I used to work at the main cultural arts centre in Manchester. That's where I used to work. I would meet everybody who worked at Man United. And the stuff they would tell me, and I can never say on YouTube or in Spaces or on Twitter, is unbelievable. That's why when I get angry about this, it's like, no, Nick Super Nick just summed it up. But let me just get to the super chat. Big up HK Music for the super chat. Fine goal, not a bad manager. Dose did not get the players he wanted, so he threw the tantrum. Only bad manager we had was Oli. Well, that's a
David Moyes maybe.
Listen, listen. At the end of the day,
Moyes is the worst. Moyes is the worst.
That's an opinion.
We don't speak about Moyes.
Listen, that's an opinion. Let me just get the other super chat. I think I might have missed. Big up HK Music.
You were saying Super Nick Nurin had it on.
Yeah. So sorry. Super Nick says. Let me just get to what Super Nick said. Super Nick made a brilliant comment. Absolutely brilliant comment. What she broke. Let me just get this. Why would the team like my? Yeah, we got that. I think I might have missed.
I'll look for it too. Hold on.
Hang on a second. Let's find it.
Is it this? Blame Super Nick. Blame should always be leveled at the feet of the owners, and their overarching aim to make money. Winning trophies is always secondary.
Yeah.
I fundamentally disagree with that. I think we live, unfortunately,
we have to agree.
We live in a capitalist society, and I don't think you can begrudge anyone the desire to make money. You can't begrudge an owner the desire to make profit.
So wait, if owners aren't responsible, if you're saying okay, so you said you disagree with that fundamentally. That means the owners should not be blamed. So who should be blamed? Is the manager?
No. I think it's a combination. So I think that there isn't a simple story. There's not a simple explanation for why United are where they are. I think it's a simple explanation to put it all on the Glazers' feet, or to put it solely on the manager or solely on the Glazers. It's a complicated mess that has kind of like built upon a mess upon a mess upon a mess. And going back to the analogy you guys said before, obviously a manager cannot turn shit to gold, yes, but he can turn shit to fertilizer to use to plant other plants. Do you understand? It doesn't have to remain entirely as shit. The manager should be able to do something. It's true. If we're going with the shit like analogy, you understand? Shit cannot turn to gold.
We should just settle for mediocre and that's it. Man United.
Yeah, but Sean, you're missing one important point. You're missing one point. Your analogy would work if we were selling toilet paper, or if we were selling whatever shit you can buy in Walmart or in a supermarket. This is a football club. It's a unique product. It has a social interaction. It's in the community living. It has a history, and that's the thing. So this is why you can't treat it like toilet paper or some other thing that you're talking about. It's a whole different thing. It's a whole different thing.
I was just running with the analogy.
Listen, but this is why they change the rules with how Chelsea could be bought. Do you understand? They changed the rule for a reason. Otherwise, they could let American vulture capitalists rinse England all day long and buy all the commodities and just do what they wanted.
Listen, big up CM ENT. Make sure you subscribe. He's a gamer. Go and check out all his social media networks. Big up. It's a blessing to everyone. A question, Shashawn. If you don't like and agree that they have been a huge hindrance to our club's success over the years, where is the conversation going? And I think that's it. I think your conversation is a bit more nuanced. But for me, Manchester United are not like a company. Manchester United is a club with a heartbeat in the center of a community of tradition and culture.
People died. They're unique.
People died. Like on Monday, listen to me. On next Monday, I'm going to be going to Old Trafford like I do every year. Every year. I cycle there, and I will go there with friends. and we will stand there on the Munich tunnel, right? And we will watch the clock at that time. And every year that's held to mark the people that died. People died trying to play for this football club.
Mention, yeah.
No, I think you have it correct, Nuruddin. I'm not. All I'm simply trying to add to this conversation is complexity and nuance. I don't think it's as simple as simply saying it's all on the Glazers. I think it's a bit more complex than that, and that's all I'm saying.
I need to wrap up. Listen, guys. It's been absolutely brilliant. I think we could have this argument all day, every day.
Yeah, and we should be happy. We're going to Wembley.
Listen, the best thing about a debate is that everybody is entitled to their opinion, and everybody sees it differently than most of the football clubs. So please just understand that we're here to respect each other. Just because we don't agree with somebody, that mean that person is bad or whatever they are. For me, it's about a point of view. A point of view, and some people see as business what the Glazers has done, and anybody who's a business see that. But to me, they should never have been allowed to own a club like Manchester United, because most owners don't come into a club to take money out. Man United, they do. We're the only team in the Premier League where they take money out.
Can I just say that one important point, and this is the problem, right? None of us really study the economy deep. I mean, I try to read up on how the economy works every day on a deeper level, right? You have to remember the way America works. America's rules in terms of trading and what they can buy. I mean, you have to understand that they don't run the world for out of like just like by clicking their fingers. They understand when they allied their money to gold after Bretton Woods, and when they allied their currency to make sure the Saudis bought oil, they knew they were going to run the world. So they have a rules that the way that they were allowed to, Glazer was allowed to buy, is my point, is that America is the home of vulture capitalism. You can't do those kind of things in Germany or Spain or countries like you can't do it.
You can't do it in England anymore now. The anti-Glazer clause is here. It's been
but what I'm saying is when I hear Sean talk about that, I'm thinking of Nigeria and how they see business and finance, and it all comes back to that. Let me just explain. There is a social aspect to football clubs. It's the key word. Social aspect. And if you don't understand that, you don't understand football clubs, because like I said, it is not a product like any other product. It's a unique thing has a heart to it, and it has the
legacy and history.
It's a legacy, and it goes back hundreds of years.
Well, Irfan, when we
guys, listen, I'm sorry. Listen, guys, I'm sorry. It's really late here. Stay with me, so I need to go. But big up to everybody. This shall be continued. When I can speak properly, Sean, you got off scot-free today.
You've done well today, Nerd. I'll give you that. You've done well to keep it together today. I'll give you that.
I keep it for next time. But big up to everybody. Please smash a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed. And there you go. I respect opinion, Sean.
Big shout to Steve, man. Big shout.
Yeah. Listen, I'm big up to everybody. Definitely my group chat Nigerian, they treat United like a business. Don't get it. Listen, it is what it is. It's not. I actually think maybe they live in a real world, and maybe
they've got a different outlook. I speak to Nigerians a lot. They've got a different outlook on this.
Listen, and some people say they live in a real world because they see the world, they operate in the world what the reality is, not what it should be. And to be fair, Sean made that point. But love, light, people. It'd be boring if we all agreed. Big up to Steve. Make sure you subscribe to his channel. This Aries, Steve Macalena,
Is that Macala? Is that how you spell it, Macala?
Yeah, Macala. And then you can see it on here, Sean podcast, geopolitical podcast, how we see things. I think he deals in the reality. We're more emotional, and I think that's what the argument the Glazers. I don't think because we're just more emotional about it. Because for me, I've not been to the store for 17 years to buy a shirt. You know how much pain that causes me? Like, I walk past it every day when I go to the stadium, and I'm like, I can't even get a beanie hat. I can't. And I'm never, because I was at the first protest. And those of you who are interested, please go and type on YouTube the riot when they came to take over the club on the first day. 20,000 United fans left Manchester United, set up their own club. Called FC. So they didn't take it lightly. We knew what they were going to do. We knew who they were, and everybody knew who they were. So it wasn't just like they've just turned bad. They should never have ever been taken. And like Irfan said, Germany, Spain,
they would never allow this stuff.
They will never. Because
only it's a very unique American capitalist thing.
Their football clubs mean more to them than to sell out to vulture capitalists. Well, listen, smash a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed. Hit the notification because the next when we're next live. It's been a big up Super Nick, big up CM. Make sure you check it out. And Airfan Rainey on Twitter and Airfan Rainey on music. Take care. Podcast show
Shout out, everyone.
how we see things.
Bye.
And Steve Magdalena, there you go. Peace, love, light. Good night, people. Right, guys, I've got